Are you a South African musician trying to figure out how to set up a notification of works with Capasso? Welcome to this episode where I plan on demystifying just that. So Capasso has updated the way of setting up your notification of works. So I'm going to head over to my PC and show you step by step on how to do that. So the very first thing that you want to do is head over to the Capasso website, capasso.co.za. Right at the bottom, you see there will be something about cookies. So you can say okay because of the poppy regulations. But anyway, so you want to sign in. I've done a tutorial showing you how to create an account with the Capasso portal. So I'm not going to go through that now, but I'll leave a link in the description with regards to creating an account. And then you simply log in. When you log in, it'll automatically put you where it says create new notifications of works. But let's say you're not there for some odd reason, you've lost your way and you're on the home page. Click on where it says music works, and then music works is the top one, and then it'll show you all of your works. So then you click on add musical work on the top right hand side, and it would look similar to how it looks when you sign in. So let's go about, let me just get a song that I can give an example with. So there's a song I released, surprisingly, that I did not notify with Capasso. So the name of the song is actually called Release Me, right? And then you want to have all the details you need on the side. So ISWC code, ISWC is a code similar to the ISRC, but you can leave that out. I repeat, you can leave that information out. Type, it's an original work. If it's a new song, you put for music type, leave it at general usage. This will save you a lot of hassle, so keep it on general usage. And the transaction type, you can also leave that as is. I'm not going to go into detail about what's happening down here, but music work information add. Okay, so the type of write mechanical, that's correct, and then categorization international or domestic. So leave it at domestic if you're South African. You can put it on international, but for simplicity's sake, put it on domestic. Lyric adaptation, I suggest you can keep this as blanked out, and music arrangement, keep it as blanked out, or you can put original. I'm going to keep it as blank out because they don't really need this information. Where it says library production music only, leave this out because you are not a library as an independent musician. And now let's go to the information that is very important over here, writers in work. So over here, if you're already a Capasso member, you should be able to find yourself. So direct writer, so you search in your name, this is my name, okay, and then I'm just going to do it if I'm the only person making the song, right? Okay, so the composer role, if CA, composer and lyricist. Composer if it's just a beat maker, lyricist if you wrote the lyrics. Arranger is if you arranged somewhat for, let's say, a 4-piece band, but most people will either be CA, composer, or a lyricist. Composers if you made the beat, contributed to the melody, etc. Lyricist is if you're a rapper or musician that wrote the lyrics. So in this case, I'm the CA. And then let's say copyright share. If you learn, you can put 100% copyright share. And then since Capasso mainly deals with mechanical royalties, that's what MR stands for, you put in 100% there. PR, performance rights share, that has to do with SAMRO, so you can put in 100 for PR share as well. Okay, Mechanical Rights Society, you can leave this at Capasso, but as of interest here are other rights organizations. If you just want to do some research on what they do, you can go into each one of them, but since we're on the Capasso portal, you are part of Capasso. On the Performance Rights Society, this is SAMRO, so leave this at SAMRO. The system automatically puts it there. Now, original publisher, sub-publisher, administrator. You can leave these as is blank if you do not have any one of these. Most independent musicians probably won't. If you work with Song Trust, no, Trader, sorry. Song Trust, sorry. So there is Song Trust that you can work with no IP, but some of my releases I don't use Song Trust. I've made a video with regards to Song Trust, but leave that out. And then this is how it should look. Simple, 100%, 100%, 100%. If there is only one person involved. Hypothetically speaking, what would you do if there's someone else in the song skill? You go to where it says add new over here in this section. Can you actually see that? I can't see what you see. Hold on. Yeah, it's big enough. You click on where it says add new. And then this is how you'd add a new person that is not found on the system. You remember how I searched for myself in here in the writers share? If you're not, or if the person is not part of Capasso, you can add them manually this way. You'd need their IPI number and their IPI base number. IPI base number usually looks something like this. I think it's 7 digits hyphen. Something like this is an IPI base number. And the IPI number is something like this. And then it will be a bunch of numbers. You get all these numbers from SAMRO. So they max it out for you. AKA pseudonym. The name, title, Mr. So first name, last name is obvious. Stage name, that's your rap name, etc. IPI number, I showed you how to get that. And then the rights, PRO, this is SAMRO typically, and Capasso. Make sure you get this information from the person that you want to add. If you are adding yourself, then obviously you know these details. If you do not, you should have them in your split sheet already. Then you click on save. I'm not going to do that now because it's just going to complicate the situation. Writers in work. Okay, now let's say there's a second person that is in the song. Right at the bottom where it says add another writer in work, you click in there and then you'll get number 2. So you repeat the process. Let me find my homie Silas, Adrian. Let's say he's a producer, so he's typically a composer, and he'd get 50% share, 50 on the mechanicals, 50 on the performance rights side, and then obviously I'd have to adapt mine. The total percentage has to equal 100, so make sure it equals 100, else you'll have errors down the line. Original publisher, you find if he has a publisher, you add that. If he has a sub-publisher, you add that. If there's an administrator, you add that. And that's if you're adding 2 people. And then you add another one if there's a third person, etc. Now, I don't have another person in this one, so I'm just going to remove it to carry on with my actual information. So on the right hand side where it says remove, click on remove. And then make sure that you have the correct percentage share in the writer's block. So 100% goes to me. And then now let's go to the sound recording, the recording side. What's the name of the song? It's called Release Me. Version title, make sure it's recorded if it's already been recorded. And then the ISRC code, I have to find that. When did I release Me? There it is. Here's the ISRC code. It's a song from last year. Can you imagine? I'm only doing it now. Don't follow my advice. I don't follow my own advice, huh? And then it's 2 minutes 29 seconds. 29 seconds. Release date. When was Release Me released? Aye. Let me just get this information here. On the 4th of May last year. So that's very bad. I actually had to dig deep to find a song that I can notify. And then performing artist, subtitle 1 you can leave out, subtitle 2 you can leave out, and then language you can put in, not necessary, but you can put it in. Oh no, it wants it, there's a star there, so you have to put in the language. And then performing artist name, you should be, if you've used Capasso before, your name should be there. But if it's not, add new, and then you do the same thing again, and then you add the names in. You can leave ISNI out actually. So you can put in the first name, the last name, and the stage name is the rap aka name. ISNI you can leave out, then you click on save. Record label, if you have a record label, you add that, but typically independent musicians do not. A record label will most likely be the one filling this out if you have a record, if you're signed anyway. So leave that out. If you have alternative titles, typically musicians won't have, so leave that out. And then artists performing works not mentioned in recordings. So if you have a session musician, for example, or someone who wrote a performing artist, a guitarist, you have to add them in this section, but typically this is not the case, so I'm going to leave it out, and you click on save. If everything went according to plan, you will have this green thing right at the top, where it gives you everything you need, and it says was successful. If everything went according to plan, you'll see at the top a status that says queued. That means it's in the queue. That means everything went according to plan. Now, sometimes you'll have something that's called a conflict. Typically, a conflict would be if your percentage is not, if you've actually notified the song before, it'll be in conflict, or if the percentage splits seem dubious, like you have 95% allocated, not 100, but within the application process, it usually kicks it out. You can click on the work ID. It's up, you're still editing this record because it's still in the queue, so being processed to back office. So if you edit anything while you go in it, you can change within the first, once they open, they'll process it. So when it's being processed, you can still edit. Perhaps you've got some things, but in this case I did not. Version title. And then when you come back, it'll be written processed. It won't do it now because I'm doing it on a day that no one's at work, but usually it takes 24 hours. But that's the application process explained. If you want to know how to set yourself up on the Capasso portal, have a watch at this video.